Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unlocking the ultimate 2026 toolkit, breaking down exactly what how to buy a house cheaply strategies you actually need to know right now. If you've been feeling totally locked out of the real estate market just because you don't have tens of thousands of dollars sitting in a savings account, well, you're in the exact right place. We're going to build a comprehensive strategy using the latest guidelines to get you into a home cheaply and efficiently.
All right, let's dive right in by totally dismantling the absolute biggest, most intimidating myth that keeps people out of the real estate game. For generations, the golden rule was that you absolutely had to have a 20% down payment to buy a house, right? Like, if you're looking at a $400,000 home, that's $80,000 in cold, hard cash. But I'm here to tell you, in 2026, that old rule is entirely obsolete.
The reality, with the right strategy, you might actually need exactly 0% down to get the keys to your new place. That's right, nothing. Zip, zero. Today, we're going to look at a bunch of government-backed and conventional strategies that drastically lower that barrier to entry. We're talking about transforming homeownership from this distant dream into an immediate, actionable reality.
Section 1. The Low Down Payment Foundation.
So first up, we have the Federal Housing Administration, or FHA loan. What's actually really interesting here is just how forgiving these requirements are. An FHA loan needs a mere 3.5% down payment if your credit score is 580 or above. Now, yeah, it does come with upfront and annual mortgage insurance premiums, but this flexibility lets buyers who might have, a few dings on their credit report successfully secure financing.
But let's contrast the FHA loan with conventional options like Fannie Mae's Home Ready and Freddie Mac's Home Possible programs. These are fantastic alternatives that require only 3% down. And even better, unlike FHA loans, where the mortgage insurance is pretty much there for the life of the loan, these conventional programs let you cancel your private mortgage insurance once you build up enough equity. The catch? You generally need to meet their income limits, which are capped at 80% of your area median income.
Section 2. Zero down, USDA and DPA.
Enter Down Payment Assistance, or DPA. This is third-party financial support, typically offered by state housing finance agencies or nonprofits. And what makes this so incredibly powerful is that DPA can literally provide the exact 3.5% cash needed for that FHA loan we just talked about. It perfectly pairs a government-backed loan with third-party support, so you can utilize an FHA loan without bringing your own cash for the down payment.
And DPA comes in several incredible forms. You've got pure grants, which act as free money requiring absolutely zero repayment. Then there are forgivable loans. And this brilliantly illustrates how this system rewards you for staying put, because these loans literally vanish. They're entirely forgiven if you just stay in the home for a set period, usually around 5 to 10 years. There are also deferred second liens, which basically just sit quietly in the background until you eventually sell or refinance.
So the crucial point here is this. You have to be strategic. Use the HUD directory to find approved providers, but make sure you pick just one compatible DPA program. Seriously, applying for multiple DPA programs simultaneously can actually backfire, causing technical conflicts that disqualify you from your primary mortgage. You want to work with a single, experienced FHA and DPA lender right from day one to navigate this whole thing smoothly. But hey, what if you don't want to mess around with assistance programs and just want a standalone zero-down loan? Well, look into the USDA program. Here's a truly shocking fact for you. The USDA eligibility map covers approximately 97% of the United States land area. I know, people hear USDA and immediately picture tractors and farmland, but the reality is that a ton of rapidly growing suburban communities situated just outside major metros are perfectly eligible for this zero-down financing.
Now, to unlock a USDA loan, it's not just about location. You also have to meet the borrower guidelines. The property has to be your primary residence and generally under 2,000 square feet. Financially, your total household income cannot exceed 115% of the area median income. And while credit requirements can be a bit more stringent, usually needing a 640 score for streamlined approval, the trade-off of 0% down makes it an incredibly powerful tool in your kit.
Section 3. Negotiating seller concessions.
This is where we use seller concessions to wipe out those closing costs. A seller concession is an agreement written right into your contract where the seller agrees to use a portion of their profit to pay for your closing costs. We're talking title fees, appraisals, or even buying down your interest rate. And here's where it gets amazing. On USDA loans, sellers are legally allowed to contribute up to a massive 6% of the purchase price toward your closing costs. Of course, a seller isn't just going to gladly hand over their profits for nothing. If they push back on your request for concessions, you need to systematically counter them. You can present local comparable sales data showing homes sitting longer on the market, or leverage issues found during the home inspection to justify the credit. You could even offer them a faster, cleaner closing timeline to sweeten the deal.
Section 4. House hacking a duplex. House hacking a duplex is perhaps the most powerful real estate strategy out there for a first-time buyer. It basically involves purchasing a 2-unit property, living in one side as your primary residence, and renting out the other side. Because you're actually living there, you can still use those low down payment FHA or zero down USDA loans we talked about. But now you have a tenant whose rent is paying down your mortgage every single month.
When you're out there searching for the right multi-unit property, you need a quick way to filter out the bad deals. You gotta use the 1% rule. This rule states that the monthly rent for the units should be at least 1% of the total purchase price. It's just simple math that ensures the property is highly likely to effectively cash flow and offset your expenses.
Now, you might be wondering, how on earth do I qualify for a loan on a duplex if it's way more expensive than a single-family home? And this brilliantly illustrates why the strategy works so well. Lenders will typically credit you with 75% of the prospective rental income from that other unit to help you actually qualify for the mortgage. They apply a 25% vacancy factor, sure, but that remaining 75% gets added right to your effective income.
Let's see this duplex math in action. Imagine you buy a $400,000 duplex, and your total monthly mortgage payment is $2,500. If you rent out the other half and your tenant pays you $1,800 a month, they are single-handedly covering 72% of your monthly mortgage. You are left paying just $700 a month for a massive real estate asset. It's like a cheat code for living incredibly cheaply.
If you want to pull this off, you've got to follow these 5 essential steps. First, choose the right property using that 1% rule. Second, run your cash flow numbers meticulously, making sure you factor in maintenance. Third, secure that low-down FHA or USDA financing. Fourth, manage the property like a true professional by screening for excellent tenants. And fifth, plan your exit strategy, whether that means moving out in a year to rent both sides or staying put to save aggressively. Have a plan. Oh, one quick warning though, if you choose the FHA route for a multi-unit property, be prepared for the FHA self-sufficiency test. Lenders aren't just going to blindly trust the rental income. They'll check your cash reserves to ensure you have a financial safety net. Basically, they want to know that if your tenant moves out or the water heater bursts, you can still cover your property taxes, maintenance, and monthly payments without defaulting.
Section 5. Your affordable housing playbook. All right, so here's your playbook all consolidated on one slide. You've got your 3% conventional options and 3.5% FHA options. You can use down payment assistance to cover that cash, or bypass a down payment entirely with a USDA loan in an eligible suburb. You can negotiate seller concessions to wipe out your closing costs, and you can wrap all of this up into a duplex house hack to have a tenant literally pay your mortgage. By layering these strategies, buying a home is absolutely within your reach. You no longer need to wait a decade to save up 20% while rent prices just continue to skyrocket. You have the tools, the data, and the specific program knowledge right here. The only question left is, which of these low-cash strategies are you going to use to stop paying rent, build your wealth, and finally unlock your first home this year?